Normally I start all my videos and I jump right into it, but I just want to say a real quick shout out to all of my subscribers. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys. Always here, you show up, you like my videos, you have been here with me since the beginning when I had 0 subs. So let's talk about what I just witnessed today in that wonderful video in the podcast that Patrick Bet David had with Billy Carson. For many of you guys that don't know who Billy Carson is, it takes 2 seconds to Google somebody. He's a well-known author. He's a well-known man in the, I would say, alien community. You know, that sort of ancient lost civilizations. That's what he talks about. And they talk about so many things that, I mean, literally could go into 100 different topics. Some of the greatest minds in, history, like Nikola Tesla, who was more than a genius in many ways. He was a true savant, what Billy Carson called him, and whose work continues to influence modern technology. As Patrick Bet David said at the end of his interview with him, Billy, I could spend hours upon hours talking to you. It was really intriguing to me that the military industrial complex here in the United States of America is one of the most secret in the world, if not the most secretive agency in the world, is how the military operates here in the United States. I believe they have a stronghold on some of the technology and things that they find, and they keep all of that stuff under lock and key. And even the US president, I believe, has no say in what the military industrial complex does. I think Billy Carson also, he touched on how the military does hold a monopoly on advanced technology, meaning, think about your cell phones, how much they've evolved since, day one, right? It went from that to what we see now in a matter of 50 years. I would say, I could safely assume, releasing these type of innovations in small increments, the way that they're doing it, is going to maximize profits for these corporations. It's a deliberate control to stifle broader technological processes, keeping all of the cutting edge developments out of public reach. I noticed one of the conversations that he was having about Elon Musk and all the advancements he's made and strive for. It kind of strikes me as some of the people that are given this stuff, right? This great mind like Elon Musk to create these things that we don't think we can do as humankind. Are they given that stuff by a special being or an entity like a god? Has someone paid them a visit? Or is it just out in the ether, as many spiritual people will tell you? Some of this information is out in the ether, and that's why sometimes you'll find a mass amount of people creating the same object or creating the same things at the same time. One of the things Elon Musk has advocated for was open source technology, striving to accelerate innovation through transparency and collaboration. And a few of his examples are with his Tesla in 2014. He made the patents available publicly. We know SpaceX, while it's not fully open source, SpaceX has also shared detailed information about their Raptor rocket engine, part of the Starship project. Then they had OpenAI, who I didn't even know this. Upon researching it, he was one of the co-founders in OpenAI, right? To develop AI that benefits humanity. Now, initially committed to open research, OpenAI has become more commercially focused over time. So I think that's something that grows weary on people that have some sort of moral compass and want to do what's right for humanity. And that's one of the areas where I'm telling you, as a person on the internet, just a random girl on the internet, we have control over. We can regulate these markets. Of course, information can be proprietary. It can be kept secret for military reasons or for safety. We don't want technology that can kill a mass amount of people in the wrong hands. Let's just put it that way. But things that can benefit mankind, like electricity, like water, clean water. Why are these things taking such a long time to be developed, especially in this century, right? And in 2024, I never thought we'd make it to 2024 and we would still be, having countries where there's slavery. America's a part of that. Americans don't realize they're slaves, but they are. And that's why that conversation about him talking about the Rothschilds, for example, or the Rockefeller family, having trillions upon trillions of dollars, it was weary for me because I kept thinking, we're in a modern time and mankind has such a far and long way to go. Innovation and intellectual property, that conversation is one that needs to be had. Part of that conversation that they were having about holding ideas too close can make you a target. As powerful entities might try to exploit or suppress these concepts for their own gain. We've seen that in the way Nikola Tesla died. He died penniless and broke. And all of his ideas were, I'm 100% certain, I don't need the internet to tell me that his ideas were taken by the people, the powerful elite, the overseers of this world that want that innovation for themselves. They don't want it getting out yet. There could be a valid reason, in my opinion, why certain things are kept secret. In the wrong hands, things can take a messy turn, and we could be completely in a hellscape right now. We're not quite there. We are at a turning point, I believe a pivotal point in humanity where there is a great awakening. Everything boils down to power. If you really listen to the interview from start to finish, you'll realize that power is the number one thing that these powerful entities or beings or gods want, is power. When Billy Carson was discussing Enlil and the Sumerian, the gods and things like that came on earth and were fighting over mankind, I don't believe in the traditional way of you got to read the Bible and take it word for word, because I believe man wrote the Bible. I manipulated what was given to us by the gods, that was given to us by our true creator, who I still have yet, after listening to that interview, I have yet to believe that the true creator of mankind would just leave us here and then just leave us on our own to be destroyed by these evil people that are running the earth. Because if you really look at mankind, why have it that we're basically like a slave species? People that are poor, and like right now we could look at all the things going on across the planet, all the wars, all the fighting over land, over resources, over money, which is all made up anyway, because as we know, America just prints money left and right like it's nobody's business. So it's not about money. It boils down to power. Now, while Billy Carson did touch on the wealthy elites that run the world, like I mentioned, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all of these people, he didn't mention some of the even lesser known names, the Gray Pope and things that you can look up that is widely available on the internet. Don't let anybody fool you. Freemasonry, all of this stuff is real. The Illuminati, all of this stuff is real. But the wealthy are, in my opinion, often trying to promote rhetoric or theories to sow confusion. Is their way of making sure we stay fragmented. And this is evident in the proliferation of religions and ideologies, which serve to divide and conquer rather than to unite people. And true peace and progress often require a collective agreement. An awakening is underway. And I think it will challenge the traditional taboos and questioning of established power structures. They go from that to talking about Nazi Germany and Hitler's obsession with Antarctica. And as I was watching that, I was thinking, yeah, the obsession with Antarctica is because Antarctica has been marked off from normal people. Normal people aren't allowed to go there. So what do you think the fixation is? There is something there that they're hiding. So you have to ask yourself, why are they allowing thought leaders like Billy Carson or Patrick Bet-David or Joe Rogan or Russell Brand or any of these people that are on these platforms to talk so freely about things, even Stephen Greer? But you have to ask yourself, why now? Why are the powerful elite not suppressing, minimizing these type of thought leaders? Because if you think about what Billy Carson said in the interview, this sort of stuff years ago, if he said this around anyone that wasn't even his close friends, he'd be laughed out of room. He would be, heckled. He would be made fun of. This was not thought that you were allowed to have. And even me, as someone who is able to talk about certain things, like I posted a video here on my channel of a unidentified aerial phenomenon me and my husband saw on a walk. And I thought, should I post this? I mean, I was going back to my 80s mindset of I shouldn't post this because it'll make me look like a crazy person. And other people mirrored my sentiment and said, yeah, I was scared to post mine. I posted my video because I saw the same exact thing. So you get what I'm saying is some things telling me they're now ready to speed up this process of getting this information out there. And they, meaning the powerful beings that run this planet, either the people put in charge to run this planet by some powerful beings, or our leaders themselves are saying we need to speed up the process because we need to go to level 2 or level 3 or whatever they're doing. Because we live on planet Earth, and planet Earth is where conformity is often rewarded. Those who challenge mainstream ideas are seen as outliers. And that is something that is frowned upon in modern day think. I saw so many comments right under the video after I watched the whole thing from start to finish of people saying, I will pray for Billy Carson, still brainwashed in their mindset. He's wrong. What makes him wrong? So just to recap, a couple of other things that I'm not going to elaborate. He talks about the Bible and Jesus being an alien. Now, these are things that for me, these are just concepts and thoughts that, I think many people will be offended by, especially churchgoers, people who are hardcore Bible thumpers, the people who are deep in their faith and indoctrinated. They will find this very offensive. For me, I didn't find it offensive at all. I found it as an intriguing way to think of the 30 missing years of Jesus. Just, where'd he go? All we get is his years of his ministry and a very tiny glimpse of what his childhood might have been like. We don't get much. So where did he go? So for me, it could offer an explanation that obviously usually young people go off to get educated anyway. So it didn't really bother me too much, but for some, they'll find it offensive. Then he talks about his upbringing and why he got into the supernatural. He saw something at a young age, came home, told his mom. His mom believed him and asked him to look into it by going to Machu Picchu. He's always had a lust for this. This is something people can just be born with. I mean, let's not pretend here. There are people on this planet genuinely not interested in stuff. They're walking NPCs, in my opinion. They walk around Earth doing and fulfilling what they're told, and they just complete their lifespan like this, and that's fine. But philosophers, philosophical people, I think of Plato, Socrates, all the great thinkers of the world, if they just sat down and just accepted everything at face value, we would not have any of these great allegories and these books that they wrote. We wouldn't have the creativity that our planet needs in order to feel fulfilled. To me, a person having a PhD in this sort of stuff does not make them more credible to me, because you're getting the same amount of information. You're reading books, you're studying the information and the ancient knowledge. It's not like going and becoming a PhD and becoming a doctor that is a surgeon that operates on somebody, where you really need to have credibility to fulfill that type of job. Do you get me? Being a philosopher, being a critical thinker is something anyone can do, in my opinion. It just requires time, interest, and patience in learning the material. I believe on this journey on Earth, many of us need to be able to think for ourselves. And it's one of my staples in my channel. I always say think for yourself. By questioning conventional narratives and promoting open source with each other, whether that's innovation, technology, thoughts, I think we can pave the way for a better, more equitable future for everyone. And you guys tell me what you think about the interview with Billy Carson. I think Patrick Bet-David bit off more than he can chew. I believe he's a more logical, linear guy. He doesn't really think spiritually and those type of things. And Billy Carson touched on a lot of things that made me believe that some people are just blessed with this gift of being able to see through all the lies and bullshit. And there's others that don't want to be bothered. And that's not a bad thing either, because sometimes life is just messy, confusing, difficult, and hard, and people just don't want to make it harder. I'm being honest. Getting into too many things like this sometimes puts a heavy weight on your shoulder as a human. It makes you think, why then? Why bring us here? What was the purpose? Are we just slaves? And nobody wants to be told they're just a slave. Nobody wants to believe that that's all life is, that we're just put here to be worker bees or worker ants. We all want to believe that we share in some sort of importance, not just here on earth, but just for the stitching of humanity, or the stitching of all of beings in the universe, that we're all interconnected. And I think this is why things like this it's a weighty subject, and it's one that I believe there are no rights or wrongs. Believe what you want to believe. Believe in whatever theology or faith, okay? So long as we see it as important to take care of one another, I think there should be no problems. As long as we see it as everybody deserves. I will leave it at that. Have a great day and think for yourself.